Well, they're a dangerous, dangerous team because they've got tremendous quickness and speed, combined with the ability not only being able to get to the rim, but with shooting threes. They've got numerous guys that can get 15 to 20 on any given night. And so it's not about the balance of the stat sheet, it's about the balance of their team. And they've had different guys step up and make plays at different times in games because everybody can make a play. And I think they've responded really well to the loss of Bryce, who's one of the better players in our league, without question. But because of the fact that they have so many guys with versatility to get to the basket and to shoot the three, not to mention one of the most mobile, I wouldn't even call him a center, he's a big. I mean, one of the most mobile forward big men in our league in Ed Wu, and the things that he can do. He creates all kinds of issues because of what he can do protecting the rim, because of how he can guard ball screens. They can switch with him, they can trap with him, they can back him off. He can shoot, they can run spacing, action for him to catch the ball at the three-point line. He's incredibly dangerous from 17 to 19. He posts. So, and they've got some depth. So I think their team is really good. I think everybody knew that they would be good. And they're playing with a lot of confidence right now. I thought the way they played against Northwestern was just a great example of how much speed and quickness they have with the skill. So no question going into that environment. It's one of the tougher environments in our league. It's certainly, it's always a big game when Illinois has a home game, but certainly they're always well aware of when Indiana's coming to town. So we've got to respond to the challenge of taking care of the ball, of getting back on defense, of making sure that we're challenging shots and blocking out, at the same time coming down and making the game as simple for ourselves offensively as we can, because they go man on misses a lot, they go zone on makes, they can press, and you really, it's like getting ready for Louisville. If you spend so much time worrying about what they're in, okay, well then that plays to their advantage. You just got to come down and play and have a lot of multi-dimensional stuff that you can get to, and just keep your spacing and your ball movement to where it needs to be. Go ahead.
Sure.
I guess without Hunter, and you talk about those guards and the ability to get the rim, how much more do you challenge guys one-on-one defensively, or maybe not even just one-on-one, but guys around the perimeter, guards, James, Yogi, those guys, and maybe even somebody like Stan, who played well against Penn State, to be keeping guys out of the lane when you don't have that rim protection?
Well, that's the $1 million plus question, with our team right now. I mean, it really is, because we don't have that great rim protection, and at the same time, teams pick different ways that they want to get there. But keeping the ball in front of us, early help with early recoveries, and certainly not getting away from the fact that the more penetration makes us rotate, the more open threes get taken. And in this league, percentages are misleading too. I mean, when guys get open looks, I mean, they're bound to make them. So we've got to really make sure that we're giving early help and not getting caught up in overhelping. And they sound the same, but they're two entirely different concepts. And I think, along with the fact that we'll figure out early if they really want to go and attack the post. So they've got a lot of different. They're playing, I would call Malcolm Hill a wing. I mean, they're a 4-guard, 4-wing offense a lot of times, and they've got different strengths personnel-wise that we've got to make sure we have a couple of those things down, and that we know what's going to happen when guys get the ball in certain places. But no question, we've got to do a really, really good job of keeping our chest in front of the ball, knowing the personnel, giving that early help, like I said, and then challenging shots and blocking out.
Is this a game where, I guess again, sorry, just to follow up, where maybe Stan could have some impact off the bench? He's just being physical defensively.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but everybody has to. I mean, the challenge is for really every day, especially yesterday. It was much more isolated into 2-on-2, 3-on-3, things like that, for guys to really keep picking up their ability to defend the proper way. And big thing for us right now is not only staying down in that stance, which we're doing a better job of, is the recovery, all right, and then staying lower. We really got to work on staying lower, because it's like pad level in football. And as the game goes on, the higher you're up Okay, and the lower the opponent is, the lower that pad level is, and that's why they always talk about it. That it makes so much sense, and I've used that example before, and we don't have any football players out there, but you have to stay low. You know, the harder it gets, the lower you have to be. I mean, that's why it's a demanding game. That's why it's defense. And that for us, when we see the film, creates so many of our situations. We get up, we're in the stance, but our head's over our body, or you know, we're not bent at the waist, or maybe bent at the knee, we're bent at the waist. You know, those type of things. We've got to keep correcting those constantly, and then try to avoid that slippage as much as possible in the game.
How do you feel the young guys are doing in terms of film study, just recognizing film study and then taking it to the court?
Oh,
I know that's a process for young guys.
Yeah, I think they're learning a lot about that. I think it's building confidence. I think you see confidence come out in different ways. And if you're just waiting to have really good games and have your scoring be there, well, then your confidence is going to be fleeting. It doesn't matter really who you are. And so your confidence has got to come from what you're bringing on the defensive side, what you're bringing in the impact of the game, like we always talk about, and how much you know, and preparation leads to confidence. And so the more they know about an opponent, the more they know about the individual in the game. And because we switch so much and play zone, it's not just about your matchup. It's never really just about your matchup. It's about them, you know, and what are their strengths. And like we told the team, we could get ready for 50, 60 different things in this game with Illinois. But you can't. You've got to get ready for the concepts. You know, and the concepts, the more that they can pick those up off of film, and more they can pick up what this means and what that means, then the better they'll be, the more confidence they'll have, because you want them to play as free as they can possibly play inside of the game.
Anything else?
Just without Rice, just in the recent games, is Illinois doing anything differently offensively, or are they showing things that maybe didn't?
Well, I'd say this, the last two games, last 5 minutes of the game, against Northwestern and Maryland, I think it was, Ahmad Starks and Malcolm Hill took 12 of the 16 shots. You know, Rice would have been taking some of those shots. So it's not as much what's going on during the game as you have to be prepared for the end of the game. With that being said, Aaron Cosby's coming off, I think, his career high. And there's no question that Tate is a very, very dangerous guard. Malcolm Hill is scoring from mid-range. He's scoring from 3. He's screening. He's really, really a great example of multi-dimensional, all-purpose turning into a lot of points. You know, because he's doing a really good job of getting people open and impacting the game and more than just his scoring. So with that being said, none is very good at creating offense and extremely good when you let him get to his left hand and when he's on the right side of the court and those type of things. And so I think it's just really the end of the game, maybe where it's at. Their ball is moving. They've got a lot of guys that can make plays. They space the court very well and they run very well. So our transition defense, without question, and our ability to challenge shots and then get the defensive board, they're tremendous. The one thing that hasn't changed, they're shooting free throws at an incredible rate. I think they're 82% in the league, or just under. They're third in the country overall, and their defensive rebounding percentage is tremendous. You know, so when you've got the ability to get out and go on your break, and you've got the ability to have something happen when you attack the rim by getting to the foul line and making points, that's dangerous. So we got to be great at the beginning and great at the end of the possession as much as possible. And I don't know if much has changed with Rice being out there, other than the fact that it's just another guy that's a bona fide shot maker.
Have you seen anything else from Jeremiah the last few days of practice? Maybe looking to seize an opportunity to maybe get some more minutes?
We'll see. Yeah, I mean he's working at it. I mean there'll be a time and a place. But really it's just a matter of us having even better ball movement, and we're not really a team that's just going to be able to slow it down and throw it in the post, and because you're not going to create a post double right now. We really weren't creating a post double anyways, you know. So his impact would have to come for us on the rebounding side, on the defensive abilities, and it's coming. But at the same time, Emmett's getting better, and you know, Colin and Max. Okay, Max is definitely going to have to be somebody that can provide more for us from different spots. Colin is, and Ryan did the other night, and hopefully we continue to build on that. So it's not as much about the size, it's about the activity. And if Jeremiah can come in with that size and bring some activity and create some positive plays, then there'll be an opportunity for him.
Time for one more question,
What
please.
has enabled James to be so effective rebounding? And was he this effective in high school, or is it just something that he's really working on?
I don't remember the high school part of it as much, knowing his numbers. I think he's got a nose for the ball. And our job is to make sure he's got that nose open. You know, give him some smelling salts once in a while to remind him, go get it. Because it's like Yogi, when Yogi was a freshman. Every time Yogi got a defensive board, we were at an incredible rate at the break because he started that offense, right? Well, it's like when James gets offensive and defensive boards, really good things happen. And they just got to be committed to going all the time, you know, and deal with the blockout. But he's long, and he's got some real good quickness, you know, to get to it. It's just a matter of, for us, we've got to rebound the ball. You know, we can't let our spacing dictate who goes to the backboards. Everybody's got to go unless you're the guy that's back, you know, and we spend a lot of time on those rotations of who's back, who's not back. But you can't have, and we already had some weaknesses with this. You know, this is where we haven't been as consistent. We haven't been as consistent in our rebounding on the offensive end. Our blockouts have been pretty good on the defensive end. We haven't always gotten the ball, okay? So therefore we've had some of the poor margins. But the Michigan State game was really the worst of the games since Louisville, because at that point we're out rebounding teams at a pretty good rate. But we've got to continue to improve the offensive rebound. And it's not just this game, it's got to be every day, it's got to be every game. And you just got to keep coming and coming and coming. And the more spacing, and we shoot threes, obviously, like others do, so the more spacing game that you're in, if you get guys that are just standing there, well, they're really in no man's land, okay? And you've got to be coming through to the glass and then getting back. If you're in a certain area, then you're back, but you got to sell out and go to the glass. You know, and with James and Nick and Stan and Troy and people like that are moving constantly in the offense, when they're doing that, we're a better team. And that's how we have to play. James can continue to do that at an even higher rate, and because we got to steal possessions, and at the same time we've got to keep finding all these different ways to get to the foul line.
Okay.
Go ahead, Sam.
I just haven't asked in a while. Devin's back in school.
He is back. He's here with
just
us.
where is he overall?
Well, you know what? That's a good question. We should be able to have more of an update next week, because he's had a lot of meetings and things like that since he's been back. But he's with us every day in practice. It's going to be his first trip, I believe. He's still able to go, right? Yeah, this is his first trip with us. Those all become doctors' decisions, and it's Dr. Rank and Tim Garl in touch with, you know, the doctors that are working with him. But he's dressed. You know, we used to keep his practice jersey and shorts on a chair every day, you know, and I think some of you probably remember that, but it was every day, and now he's wearing them, so that's a good thing. But I give him assignments in practice, and give him certain things that I want him to watch in practice, certain areas that he doesn't from. You know, today he was kind of casually passing the ball, so I remind him of game-like passes. He has shot a little bit in some of our drills, but it hasn't been very much. You know, I think it's a situation where his attitude is great. He feels he's doing really well. He feels he's recovered at a really high rate. But we have to keep trusting the plan and trusting the doctors constantly on what that means. And I like the fact that he's hungry, but we also have to remain patient, knowing that we're all dealing with something that most of us, especially him, but most of us I've never dealt with this, you know, to this level. So we really, really have to trust the doctors and that plan as we go through it, and just keep understanding there's a long-term plan. But his attitude is fantastic, and it's great to have him back around. Hunter's staying engaged. I knew when Hunter went down that we would miss his presence, you know, with our team, and the vibrancy that, you know, it's just like a different person since the Louisville game, you know. And I know it didn't always transfer out to the play that you saw, but it did transfer out a lot of the play that we saw in practice, and then certainly had some really good moments in games. And a lot of that's because the confidence that they get comes from that energy and from that talk, and from being able to give points. And the reason I say that is because that's what we need Devin to do, you know, and keep learning the game and being able to transfer those type of things to his teammates, so he stays constantly engaged with the team, not just being with the team, but being an active part with the team, even though he's not on the court, you know, in a going up and down manner. But I think every couple of days, starting here pretty soon, we'll be able to assess and say, okay, is there more that he can do? And, you know, I should say every couple of days, maybe every week, and just get an assessment there the most important thing is him getting back acclimated the way he's been to being away from home, to continue to have the responsibilities that he has as a student and as a member of the team, but also knowing that he's doing a lot of other things to get himself healthy. You know, that the average basketball player, student athlete, or student's not doing. And so we have to really keep our focus heavily on that too. Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks, Tom.